So originally when I was planning this video, the idea was to talk about Expo expenses in general, that is your admission, your accommodation, food, etc. But I found I had so much to talk about just on accommodation alone that is going to be the topic of this video. So when you're planning to stay over at Expo, I guess you've got a few options. Option one isn't staying over at all. If you're lucky enough to live close enough to the London Excel, or perhaps you are just travelling down for the day, then you don't need anywhere to stay over. So we'll scratch that one off. Option two, you get a hotel. Option three, you get an apartment. I guess there could be an option four, which I'm surprised I haven't seen anyone do before, and that would be to camp out in a tent on the grass outside. I'm sure that would go down really well with security as well. Hey, fancy spending the night in my tent outside? We can snuggle up real close, share a sleeping bag. I'll let you be the big spoon if you like. And moving away from Creep Central and focusing back firstly on apartments, I chose to stay in an apartment for the first time in the 9 years I've been going to Expo, and I have to say it was really good actually. We had a 2-bedroomed apartment that accommodated 6 people. There was like a sofa bed in the lounge and then 2 other bedrooms, with one of them being en suite. You had everything you could possibly need. There was a fridge, there was a whole kitchen really. They even had like a TV, DVD player, all of that. So for the price, it was definitely really good. I mean, when we were sharing between 6, it was certainly cheaper than any hotel would have been. The only drawback, of course, where we were in towards Canary Wharf. So getting in was about a 20-minute walk or a 5-minute taxi. But to be fair, I would definitely do that again. I think the trade-off in terms of savings is definitely worth it, even if our landlord was a little bit on the dodgy side. Yes, hello, would you like to come stay in my apartment? We have everything you could possibly need. Just need to give me your bank account details. I say dodgy, he was a very nice guy, but let's just say there was some moments where I wouldn't be surprised if a few £100 is missing from my bank account in a couple months' time, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. But no, I'm sure it'd be absolutely fine. Obviously, the next main thing are the hotels. This is pretty much what I'm sure the majority of you do, because it's convenient. You're right on the doorstep of the Excel usually, unless, I don't know, maybe some of you get a hotel slightly out of town, but generally there are 4 or 5 fairly established hotels right within a few minutes walk of the Excel Centre, and that's usually pretty good, or at least it used to be, in my opinion. Certainly 5-6 years ago, you could stay in a hotel and it cost you a couple £100 for the weekend. That's before you divide it between anyone else. Even somewhere a bit like posher, like the Novotel, you was looking at £300 for the weekend. So even between 2 of you, £150, that's not bad, especially when you're in London. Nowadays, well, you're looking at £500 to £600, and that's even in some of the cheap, not as nice hotels in the area as well, which to me, that seems a little bit pricey. What a lot of these hotels seem to like to do now as well is they'll block book that week when they know Expo's coming up. They'll actually lock it so you can't book that weekend. It will say unavailable. It's not actually fully booked. They're obviously waiting to make an executive decision on what they want to charge for that weekend. I mean, supply and demand, I can completely appreciate that. But I mean, what's the target audience of people attending these events? I mean, you've got people as young as probably 16 attending these. I mean, how much money does a 16-year-old have? I used to have a paper round. That probably got me about £15 a week. And when you were asking for £550 for a hotel, I got to deliver a lot extra papers. So yeah, I can understand doing some of a markup, but to go from £300 to £560, especially when you're charging only about £250 on the weekends either side of the event, it seems like a pretty steep markup. So what I decided to do was I was going to ring Novotel just to see if I could book this upcoming May, and maybe just try and get a little bit more information on what would be going down. And here's that phone call for you now.
Good evening, thanks for calling the Novotel Excel. Abdul speaking, how may I help?
Oh, good evening. I've been trying to do a booking online, but I'm just having a little bit of trouble. I'm just wondering if you could help me look up some dates and just let me know the availability and the price for me.
Sure, just a moment, sir, while I just bring up the page.
Thank you.
And if you can let me know the date, sir.
Sure, it's the 27th of May.
And for how many nights was that for, sir?
That'd be for 3 nights.
How many adults?
2 adults.
So from here, sir, it doesn't seem like we have any availability for those dates. Perhaps that's why you may be having these problems. Or perhaps the reservation hasn't been updated yet for these dates. And if you wish, I can transfer you to Central Reservations. They can give you a more in-depth explanation why, or if you wish to book with them as well. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, so it's not fully booked, or so I'm a bit confused.
And so on the system, all I see that we don't have it available. That could either mean two things, and either that we're fully booked or we haven't started selling for those dates.
Oh, I see. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that weekend. Actually, is the prior week available? Is the 20th any good, or is it going to be the same again?
Yeah, it seems like we have those days available, and so it may be just because of the fact that those days might be booked. But I do have the 20th to the 23rd to the 23rd of May available.
Oh, okay. So what was the rate on that? Sorry.
For the 3 nights in total, you're looking at a price of £315.
Okay, well, I'll go have a think about what I would like to do, and thank you for your help.
Okay, no problem, sir. Have a nice day.
You too. Cheers. Bye. So yeah, as you heard there, Novotel staff, obviously very polite, very helpful. I genuinely believe Abdul gave me all the information that he had access to. He was obviously very keen to also try and get me further information if I wanted it. I think this does just reinforce the point that I was just making, that they obviously bookmarked this weekend and the powers that be decide, hey, how much do we want to charge people to have the luxury of staying at a hotel during this high demand period? And I guess the question left is it justified the amount they charge, or is it more greed? Or is it not greed? Is it really a conspiracy? I phoned back to try and find out more.
Good afternoon, Novotel. Stefan speaking. How can I help?
Stefan, listen, this is Lucius calling from upper management. You know, it's the big building with the glass windows and the golden couch. Listen, I need you to do me a favour. Do you have a pen and paper to hand?
I do, sir.
Brilliant. If you pick that up for me.
You done?
Great. And I need you to write down Hatsune Mica.
Hatsune Michael?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. And how am I spelling Hatsune, sir?
Christ, Stephen, did you not even go to school? It's Hatsoon.
Hatsoon. I've got that down, sir.
Right.
What would you like me to do?
Right, brilliant. You need to go into Google Chrome.
We have Internet Explorer. If that suffice.
Right, so I need you to go into Internet Explorer then and Google an appropriate picture of that, and then if you can open up MS Paint or whatever we was able to download off of Pirate Bay for you.
Yes, indeed, sir. MS Paint.
Right, brilliant. And can you add the caption, "No weeaboos, this is part of a strict new policy"?
No weeaboos. How am I spelling weeaboo, sir?
For fuck's sake, Stuart. Do I really have to explain everything to you? What am I even paying you for?
No, sir. It's okay. I'll figure it out.
Right, brilliant. And then if you can just print that off and stick it up on the front desk at reception for me.
I will do, sir. And I'll email you a copy. Would you like that in JPEG or bitmap format?
What the fuck is a bitmap?
It's just a
Look, for the love of God, Scott, I've been talking to you for far too long now. I've got very busy businessman type things to do. These bags of money aren't going to carry themselves to the bank. Do you understand?
Yes, indeed, sir.
Okay, brilliant. Right, I'll speak to you later. Toodle pip. So I'm going to wrap up this video here, guys. If you made it this far, then thank you for listening to my opinion. But now I'd like to know your opinion. I mean, what do you do when you come to Expo? Do you stay? Do you have to leave the same day? Is it too expensive for you? Or perhaps you think that it's a fair price? Are hotels charging too much? Or are they within reason to be charging what they charge? Once again, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, then perhaps share it, drop a like on it. That'd be really appreciated. And yeah, expect to hear me talk about more Expo related things in the future. Ciao. You pretty much just had Larry. Larry worked at Premier Inn, and Larry would be like, excuse me kids, would you mind maybe just not making so much noise and perhaps just, you know,